All right. Today we are diving into a fascinating conversation with someone who blends science and healing. Guest today made an extraordinary career transition from designing beautiful spaces as an interior designer to helping people heal themselves. Today we are joined by Valentina, who is a creator of Somatic Neuroplasticity Therapy, who's an author and a healer. And she's helping people overcome chronic stress, trauma, anxiety, and emotional patterns by working with both the brain and the body. Valentina, it's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been waiting for a long time to have such a beautiful opportunity to help people feel better about themselves and leading a more extraordinary life. So thank you for inviting me. It's really a blessing. Thank you.
Amazing. So, Valentina, you had a career in interior design which was pretty successful. What happened that made you completely change direction?
The direction change came because of life experiences, as everybody else. You know, there is a season for everything in life. And so my season of being a seasoned businesswoman, very successful interior designer in Kenya. I mean, I've designed the most amazing spaces for the most important people, you know, at the time in Nairobi. And all why I was doing it was simply because I know how being in a beautiful space makes you feel energetically. So you see, I never created because of somebody telling me, oh, I want to copy that house or I want to have the couch like this person. I wanted to really see how the people, the family lives in their home, in their spaces, and how that makes them feel, and then create accordingly to that. So it's like somehow I was really directed towards, you know, energy and feeling better and the understanding that beauty makes you feel better. And then that curiosity wasn't just limited to interior design. It became very important for me to recover from a terrible time of my life. So as I went through a very difficult divorce, something that I wasn't ready for, I suddenly fell ill. And after that divorce, what happened to me? I started experiencing enormous anxiety, but it wasn't anxiety like, you know, stress. It was at another level. It was debilitating. And then like few months of that, and then suddenly I experienced my first panic attack. I thought I was dying at that point in time. That's how a panic attack feels to a person. You know that you won't be there in the next few minutes. You know that you're dying and your body is going to die. And it gives you sensation sometimes of like a heart attack. Sometimes the sensation comes into your head. So for anybody who experience panic attack, they will resonate a lot with what I'm saying. It was debilitating to a point that I couldn't go to the grocery shopping. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go out of the house. I couldn't even be in the house. I mean, sometimes as the day ends, all of a sudden by 5, 6 p.m., I start getting one of the worst panic attacks that you can think of. And the amount of time my husband had to call the ambulance, even at one event at my daughter's school. That's when I saw an ambulance inside for the first time in my life. It was that bad. I collapsed in front of everybody and I was shaking and I was like having a seizure. And I went to the hospital and I had absolutely nothing. And from there, 3 years like this. So 3 years of being redundant. I mean, successful businesswoman. I've run not just interior design business. I've done all sort of things and running more than one business simultaneously. And all of a sudden, I'm there between the couch and the bed. At one point, I couldn't even walk myself to the bathroom. So I couldn't move my legs. And CT scan, MRIs, all sort of blood tests, neurological evaluation. I had absolutely nothing. So I left my husband's bank account depleted because in South Africa, you have to pay everything, medical care. I cleaned up his medical insurance for the whole family. So not just for me, but for all the other members. I've cleaned up also their kitting. And I was left with absolutely no resolution, no diagnosis. And exactly. So at that point, and having nothing to do, all I had was my phone, my laptop, and Google. And so I started my own journey into understanding what was happening to a person that feels like that all the time. She's okay. She doesn't have any problems. Okay. I didn't have any physical problem, but I was feeling like dying every day, unable to continue living a normal life. It was debilitating. My daughter was little and she didn't know how to handle this mom that one day she was absolutely perfect. And then all of a sudden she's becoming a cabbage completely. I couldn't function and I couldn't see myself. It's like there was a voice inside telling me, who is that person? I don't know you. And yet that person was the person that was functional or moving around and vegetating around the house at that point. And that is what anxiety and panic attack do.
Yeah. So Valentina, you said that there were times wherein you would feel these panic attacks would make you, cripple or die. What was happening at that point in time?
I changed my reality. So I've left the country I was living in. I had to leave behind my jobs and everything. My husband left me. We went through a divorce. And then I was here with my new husband in South Africa. So I was living the life. I had everything I wanted. I had no stress about thinking about work. It's like I was taking a sabbatical and just getting into knowing my new city, the new environment, the new house, the how to take my daughter to school, the new school and getting up. So it was very, very exciting. I was finally in a country that in terms of civilization, let's say, put it that way, it was far more civilized and more advanced than in Nairobi. So I had beautiful shop, public transport function. So everything was absolutely perfect, Kartik. And that's the thing that people don't understand. You don't necessarily have to have something excessively traumatic in life to go through this transition. So my body felt for some reason unsafe. And the understanding of what became the somatic neuroplasticity therapy is that I was afraid. It was all that created by the energy of fear. I was fearful because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. Everything before was, I know I'm going to wake up. I know I have this. I know I have this business to go to. All of a sudden, I have nothing for certain. Everything is new, and the excitement of the new somehow shook my being to an extent that I wasn't feeling safe anymore because I didn't know anything. And so when you don't know, okay, that's why I keep telling people knowledge is power, because somehow it prepares you for the next step. And so you feel solid in what you are doing and you feel safe. So all of a sudden I felt fearful because I wasn't feeling safe, because everything around me wasn't familiar. And you might laugh, and people might laugh here in this story, but until you go through it, because oh my God, something so little, other people get all sort of problems. So this woman, she just changed, city and etc. and her reality changed, and she got like that. Yes, it takes a second. It takes one thing for your whole system to get disharmonic, to go out of harmony and out of equilibrium. And in those moments, a long 3 years of sitting there and trying to function and wasn't unable to function, that all this information came to me from many different sources. And I decided that now, okay, I've done a lot of outside spaces, so let me look how the inside space feels like. But not because I really wanted to, it's because I had no other choice. Nobody could figure it out for me.
So tell me about somatic neuroplasticity therapy and your journey, right? Because what you shared is that this whole course that you created came out from your personal journey. So on one side, you said that you were dealing with anxiety and panic attacks, and then 3 years you weren't able to function well. And after that, there was a time wherein you felt recovered, and then you went into this journey of creating this course. So what happened, how did this transition happened, and what changes you saw in yourself wherein you really believed that this is the answer for the problem, and then how you moved on and then created this course?
Absolutely. So it was very slow, very painful, very felt, and I was feeling useless because I was judging myself in the process as well. So I've started understanding and looking within, and I need to identify, first of all, what the panic attacks were coming from, and eventually, slowly but surely, identify it was fear. And then the questions were fear of what? And so you need to start identifying what is the fear that you're holding. So I started writing lists. I have a beautiful piece of, actually, I have several workbooks that I used on myself. And the first one had a date and had a list of things that I was afraid of. Okay. So I'm telling you, this work that you think it's easy and we do it in 10, 12 sessions with, people who come for therapy. It was an experience of many, many years, and it continues. Every time I have a problem, I find out how to solve it and where it's stemming from. And then I'll add it on as a solution for the people who are going through this. So it's that compassion that I had for myself that now I'm passing it on to all the people that come to me. And so once I've realized that, I've realized, okay, cool. So I have fear. And then what happens? Am I going to stay fearful for another 3 years, another 6 years, another 9 years? How is this going to pan out? Am I happy in this situation? What can happen? The doctors don't have answers. So the answer must be somewhere, isn't it? I mean, I was fine. What has happened? What has shifted? And then I had to realize that the answer that I was holding was simply doing things differently. So if I keep doing the same thing, if I keep telling myself that I'm afraid or whatever, or if I don't fear or I don't face or I don't understand what I'm holding within me, what emotion I'm afraid of, then how can I move forward? I will stay stuck in that little wheel, okay, that keeps on speaking the same language, that keeps on saying the same thing. This fear of that, not feeling good enough, all the limiting beliefs, and etc., etc. And as I was dealing with fear, it came out that my list went on for 5-6 pages. So eventually, all the things that I was feeling unhappy with, there were many. I wasn't happy about my physical body. I wasn't happy how I looked like. I wasn't happy how I was reacting. I wasn't happy about how judgmental I am. I wasn't happy about other people being more successful than me. It was all very basic stuff, by the way. And as I kept on analyzing myself and all these feelings that I was holding that were not preferred feelings, because of course, when I'm joyous, when I'm happy, all those are good things that, they make you feel good. You don't need to write them down to find out what is, riding you in your subconscious mind. So I had to see all the things that I wasn't happy with. Through that period, I've also realized something else. I've realized that all the time I was getting upset or I was getting reactive about something when somebody says something to you. And of course, the first people who do that is your husband, your wife, your daughters, the closest people to you, that I used to erupt like, on defensive mode, like an angry gremlin. And then slowly but surely I've realized, where is this anger coming? Again, from limiting beliefs that I'm not good enough and that other people are showing me that they're better than me. And the more I've started researching about myself and understanding what was happening in my background, I've realized that everybody in this world is actually functioning the exact same way. So we do not function from what I say a high vibrational perspective. We all function out of our upbringing, our karma, our patterns of belief system, how our infancy has been, how our childhood has been, how our parents have treated us or lack thereof. And so we create a sort of persona in the course of our life that is basically going to kind of preserve you from suffering. And this persona that you are creating is that persona that you are showing to the other people, and you can show it up to a certain extent. And one day something's going to happen where you need to reevaluate who you are, how you think of yourself. Okay. So, for example, a father who has never told the child, you are good, you are fantastic at what you're doing, etc., is going to grow up very insecure. So, he's going to grow up trying always to prove himself or herself to this father figure. And the father figure is going to become the male teacher, is going to become the boss, is going to become the customer, is going to become whoever. And as you do that, you don't change anything. You're just reinforcing those personality character that you've created to show up, okay, without trying not to suffer. And so the neuroplasticity part of the equation came the moment I've realized that if I keep doing the things the same way, I will not change how things pan out in my life. So I need to change how I see things. First, I need to be aware. Then I need to be able to recognize what is happening to me, stop for a moment, and instead of reacting, responding to the situation. And it came about the whole understanding that the body holds all these information. So before I could actually even come to understand of any emotion playing around, of any limiting beliefs playing around, or anything else playing in the background, my body had already stored everything and it was already sending me signals that I was off balance. There was something off in me. And that's why my body was sick. It was giving me signal. It's not independent from me. I'm not independent from my body. We are all part of the same ecosystem that is the human creation.
During this time of healing and self work, inner work, were you also having medications, or were you visiting therapists, or were you doing any practices which would support this inner work, or only you focus just on this thing 100%?
Don't take me wrong. As you know, I've visited every doctor, every specialist on the planet. Okay, let's start from there. Of course, at the end of everything, I was suggested not even to go and see a psychologist. I was suggested by a very renowned doctor here to go and see a psychiatrist. So you can imagine my newly wedded husband hearing that his wife is being directed to see a psychiatrist. And I don't want to say anything against them. Each and every one of us has a duty in healing, and each and every one of us will work for some people. I knew that that was not the answer, but I was so desperate that I'm like, okay, let me try that as well. So, okay, I went to see the psychiatrist and she gave me a list of things to buy. And I was so down that I went to the pharmacy and I bought 3 months worth of that stuff. And then as I'm sitting on the couch looking at all these medicine and I start opening the leaflets, and I hope nobody's going to hate me for what I'm saying, but that was my experience. I'm not saying that everybody needs to do the same, but when I read the side effects, I'm like, how can I take something that gives me side effects worse than what I'm going through? I mean, how can I, in my little sanity left, do something like that? So I took the whole 3 months of medication, thrown it in the bin. My husband comes up with the water for the medicine. And I told him, I say, please keep loving me because I'm not going to go down this route. I'm going to find out what is going on and I'm going to take care of it and I'm going to sort it out. I promise you. And I remember years. And he accepted and he told me, I support you 100%.
So you chose not to take any medicines and then you decided that you are going to go the other way of finding answers through a different path. And that's where you kind of started working on the inner side.
And then somehow meditation came to me.
Okay.
That adds another level to the story. And I've been brought up religious. Yes, I mean, I'm Catholic from childhood. So our family trip were in some town in Padua to the cathedral and in Milan to the other cathedral and the other place. And always we are visiting cathedrals and holy sites through my entire childhood. And I've always gone to church and I've prayed, the prayers that we know and everything else. And at this point in my life, I didn't have any of it. Not once I went to church. Not once I prayed. Not once I did any of the things that I knew, okay, that could make me feel better. It's like something else had to come through. And so I came to meditation. Even now at 5 o'clock, I have my reminder, 5 o'clock meditation. So since then, every 5 p.m., I just spend 15 minutes in absolute silence. There are thoughts coming through, but I spend time in silence. I have my 15, 20 minutes and it's just me with me. And it's like my body almost prepares me for it. It's like I start slowing down at 1:45 and then I'm ready for my meditation. And if I skip it, I don't feel as well. And why it's not yet another addiction now to meditation is because those 15, 20 minutes in silence, somehow I've opened a new dimension of my understanding of what I was going through. And more, it made me believe that we are not just physical being, but we are also spiritual being having a physical journey. And that realization comes the whole load of other variables, but most importantly, with the understanding that we cannot just look at the body or look at the mind. We need to look at ourselves as an holistic being, a being that is made of many different facets, and each and every one of them requires attention. And that's why holistic healing to me makes more sense than anything else.
Okay. So going more deeper into the somatic neuroplasticity therapy, when you created this and then when you applied and then eventually started teaching it, what is it all about and what's the science? What's the whole structure? How do you help your clients or people who are looking for healing themselves? Can you share the framework of your approach?
Absolutely. So I'm following exactly my journey. So I put my into 10 sessions, literally 10 sessions of 1 hour each. And then of course, I always give people assignment because neuroplasticity is always about that, is repetition. You can't change something by understanding it and try it once. It's through repetition. So we got to where we are through a repetition of patterns and emotional patterns. So I started with the understanding of emotions. That's how my journey started, understanding what are the unpleasant or negative emotions that are riding my reactions. Okay. I'm not talking about responses because the responses, they come from a very balanced perspective. I'm talking about the normal reaction. So somebody tells you, oh my God, you put on weight and you always been having a problem with your weight. And then, who do you think you are? That skinny bee or whatever, you start, those are reactions that you want to have. That is, our opinion of you. It doesn't define who you are. And that's what I had to understand, that you are not what people believe of you. You are who you believe to be. But you cannot be and present yourself in front of people as authentic until you become your authentic self. And your authentic self is only coming out when you're able to dissociate yourself or understand that you've been having some pattern of belief that have come up, to preserve you during your childhood and then have helped you to a certain extent. But the moment in which you're feeling sick, you're feeling down, feeling like you have no direction in life, and a lot of people get to this, okay? And distractions, there is no Netflix, no going out dancing or not going out drinking that is going to help to fill this void. At that point, you need to really look inside and say, okay, so who am I? Okay. And you are not, you are not your body, you're not your emotion. Okay. You are that infinite being who is full of beauty and is not able to see it or bring it to the world because hasn't been able to develop it within yet. And
Okay.
so the journey is literally about identifying what are your limiting beliefs and what are your negative emotion, understanding that your body holds that emotion, okay? And then learning through repetition, okay, how to change your responses so your body can feel safe and can allow this process to continue. It's like basically, you've traveled a certain road from point A to point B all your life because that's all you knew, okay? But now that road is full of the bad wolf. Okay, so you can't literally go there. You need to find another way to get to your destination. But this other way that is a safer way, it's not yet been paved. You need to do it pebble by pebble, little bit by bit, and then learn instead of going straight to that direction. Now take the new road every day consistently until that new road becomes your new default road to take to your destination. And the destination is a more whole you, a you that attracts much better experiences in life, a you that can become a mother that your children are looking upon, that your children tell their friends, my goodness, I had the best mother in the world. And a mother who allows me to be, a mother who is able to direct me from a centered perspective, not from my own limiting beliefs, a mother who is able to hold space for me, a mother who is able to be there, what the mother role needs to be. And all of us are the fruit, I repeat, of our childhood and our limiting belief and the personality that we have created to protect ourselves from suffering.
While working with so many clients and working on this over a period of time, what is it that you have seen in terms of your experiences from your transformations? What's your perspective that how to navigate from that uncertainty or disbelief inside?
Absolutely. The first thing that I need to tell you is that once I healed and I continue using my own therapy to continue because, it's like the layers of an onion. You need to peel them one by one. All right. It doesn't happen like that. But what the somatic neuroplasticity therapy give you are the tools to continue, your journey into becoming who you are supposed to be. And you will be able to handle everything that comes at you. Even the worst emotional tsunami in life, you will be able to handle it, not reactively, but responsively. And that gives you power starting from there. So that is very important. The other thing is that after I've seen how it worked with me, of course, I got some certificates. It's not that Valentina, interior designer, she starts getting people and talks about psychology and talk about neuroplasticity and gets them to do meditation and gets them to do energy work and stuff like that. No, I studied and I got all my certification in order, okay, for validation and also for people comfort. Another aspect that answers your question, first of all, people come to me when they've tried everything else. So literally in the same position where I was. Or when normal medicine has given them answer that they don't really agree with. I get people, and this one gives me immense joy, that come to me and say, if you can't help me, my next step is committing suicide. And I see this in my practice a lot, a lot. People really come to me where they are at their last straw, where they don't know what to do anymore. These are the conversations that they happen in my office. And yes, and seeing them within few weeks, finding again a reason to leave and finding that their wound can actually become their platform to really become better people and giving back to society, not just to themselves, and repairing their lives and repairing their relationship or moving on from toxic relationship. It gives me immense joy. It makes me feel like those years when I was that cabbage, where I had no hopes for myself and I didn't know why am I living even? Because what's the point of living like this? What am I to anyone, leave alone myself? That they are at the same situation and they can actually find the famous lights, and it's not a train coming at you, but it's the lightness of being and embodying, beauty and peace and joy, and being able to bring that even in the darkest moments of their life made everything worth, being alive at this time right now. This therapy that is basically a combination of understanding of psychology, understanding of neuroplasticity, of understanding of how the body stores and how the body can also be used by movement to release certain things, and then bringing in the spiritual aspect and the energy aspect. okay, make this therapy different from everything else because it takes care of all the aspects of the human experience, but with a lot of compassion and beginning from the understanding that there is no judgment, is that we are all the same. If I show you the files of every person who I've been working with, the list of limiting beliefs and trauma that they are holding is the same for everybody. They write one thing, being ashamed of whatever, feeling disrespected, angry, whatever, in different position in the list, but everybody has the same list. And one day I'm going to publish this book because to me, this is the understanding that human consciousness. So, in the idea of oneness, we are one under the same principle that we are all under the same consciousness. So ultimately, we are all suffering the same way. We are all going through the same experiences. Different people, different country, different language, different culture, different religions. But ultimately, we're united by the same consciousness. And the consciousness we're in right now is a consciousness of a lot of suffering, romance. And it doesn't have to be that way forever. You can be stuck in the past for how long you want. And unfortunately, a lot of psychology at the moment, when you go and sit in their office, and I don't want to blame them, every therapy has a position for a person at a specific time when they're walking their journey. But continuing, I have people coming to me that have gone for years and all they're doing is repeating the same story. I was assaulted. My dad didn't do this. My mom was like that. Now, for how long do you keep on telling yourself the same old story? So the moment we leave a past experience in the now moment, is like the experience is here with us right now. Our body, our nervous system suffers the same way that we suffered at that point when that thing was perpetrated or when we experience it for the first time. So it is like continuing doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So the neuroplasticity aspects comes the moment in which you understand and you get people to accept, okay, it happened, all right? It made you feel this way. Your body has stored it that way. Are you ready to let it go? And when they're ready to let it go, it's just a matter of taking them through learning how to do differently, how to respond differently from that situation. That situation doesn't have to define your present. It doesn't have to define your future. You don't have to carry it forever. Everybody who has recovered from trauma, if you speak to them about it, that's how they did it. They didn't do it in any other way. They just had to accept that it happened. They had to accept that they carried it as shame, as grief, as whichever other emotion that you want to associate it with for a long time until they said enough. It has consumed enough of me. It has made me small. It has made me unable to do anything in life that was meaningful. Okay. He has taken enough of my energy. I want to move now. I want to shift it. And when they chose to do that and they took action, okay, towards moving forward instead of keep on thinking about the past, their future has changed. So the future is nothing else but how you're handling your present moment. It, it is incredible. Every time that I have a new person in front of me, and I see that they're still the same patterns, it still makes my, my work worth considering doing it for a long time.
What's the somatic neuroplasticity approach of how to deal with that, and what's the science or what's the structure?
Okay, so the person is having a thought, as you say, okay, and is a negative thought. We know that the positive thought don't create any of these issues. Okay, actually, we need to have more of those so we can live a life that is full of excitement and much, much lighter. So you have a negative thought coming at you. The negative thought generates an emotion. Okay, the emotion generates a movement within your physical body. Okay, I understood this better when I've learned about energy healing, because now dealing with, we think that the mind is here, the mind is outside of us, but these are teachings that you can get only when you look into the esoteric knowledge and the energy body and etc. etc. Understand, yeah, when you understand that you are not creating the thoughts, you're inside the thoughts, and every thought creates an emotion, and every emotion is going to shake you from the inside. And for as long as you do not release or understand or trying to shift that emotion, the emotion eventually will settle as a physical experience. Okay, you'll understand that your body is a mirror of what's going on, okay, emotionally. So if you look at it that way, and a lot of people agree with me and a lot of people disagree with me, but again, from my world of experience and the people that I help with, everybody who comes in, the moment they have a pain, they've had an operation or they have a problem, we always manage to get to the root cause of it that was an emotion that stayed there for too long. And that emotion has been created by some experiences that they haven't been able to move past. Our body has the ability to heal naturally. Think about when you cut yourself, or fever. Fever, why does fever come? It comes to make sure that the body goes back to healthy state. When you cut yourself, the body repairs itself, isn't it? Naturally, you don't have to do anything, okay? Given the circumstances. So with this ability of the body to heal itself, if the body keeps on showing you that there is something off, it has nothing to do with the body. What do you think? All the people who heal from chronic illnesses, they are people who understand and have worked with the emotion that created them in the first place. It is so interconnected that sometimes somebody can just come in and tell you, I have a pain here, and you already know what they've gone through as a child. This become so I call it a science, but it's a science that I keep on seeing every day in the work that I do. I need somebody like you who is going to study why this is happening and really give it a justification more important than the excitement that I get when I actually keep on validating these findings over and over and over. So once you understand all this, okay, you understand that you cannot treat only one thing. So first of all, we teach people how to move their body in a certain way. Very simple. We call them somatic movements.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the emotion is stuck in the body, how can we deal with the emotion if the body is holding it in the first place so you don't see it? Okay. So there is a very gentle movement. They are very simple exercise that somebody can do every day. It's like the simplest thing in the world. You can do it if you're small or if you're a very old person, you can still do them. So you allow the body to start releasing because the body needs to feel safe in order to allow you to look at your emotion. Once the body is feeling safe, the body is going to release certain information about your emotion. And again, we are going to use psychology in a way to allow people to being able to identify what are the limiting beliefs and traumas and emotion negative that they are holding within. Because the mind will always try to stop you from finding them. Okay, because the status quo must be maintained. Okay, because that's protection. And that's what the nervous system does. It makes sure that you are always protected and then you don't need to suffer. So we are not looking at certain things. So the nervous system is going to patch up and close things in. So you're not going to see them. And it tells you, Kartik, we are not looking at this today. And then eventually, when the nervous system is overwired, then, we're going to start getting into bigger problem. And then when the psychologist and the psychiatrist, they're going to be put into the picture. And I repeat, it doesn't work for everybody. Everybody, the person who is a perfect subject for somatic neuroplasticity therapy is the person that is able to see, believe, and understand that it starts with you and it ends with you. So you are the cause of every problem. It's easier to see, no, my dad did that, my mom was beating me, or I was abandoned as a child. That is, yes, it's what created it, but how you respond to it is your responsibility. For how long you want to carry the wound is your responsibility, because now, with the information that we have and all the technique that we have, and especially the one that, I've used on myself, I'm telling you, I'm the worst patient you can ever have. You don't want me as a patient because I can speak to the psychologist and argue. I can sit down with the doctor and argue. I can sit down with the neurologist and argue. So you need somebody who is open to receive, and most importantly, to take responsibility for their own healing. Because the exercise that I recommend, they are working. There is no way, but you need to do them. You can't expect that just because you've sat down with me for 2 sessions that your life is going to change. You need to put the work that you've put for 30 years of your life in doing it the other way, of consolidating, your belief system, your patterns of character or your personality. So you can't expect that something you build in 30, 40, 50 years, one session flows into the other, and you do your little assignments at home. And as you do that, you keep on unlocking the next level, the next level, the next level, until it's like I'm going to leave you with a little toolkit and the notion how to use every tool depending on the situation you are in at that point in time. The beauty is that you can teach it to your family. So, I mean, people will see you changing. People will like, wow, who is this person? People are going to seek your presence. People are going to ask you how you did it. People are going to ask you, but what's gotten into you? Have you done, something special? And now there is very fashionable the ayahuasca journeys and all these micro dosing of Yeah, you truly don't need them because you have everything within you. You just need to activate those aspects of you and all the four aspects of you because you are not a single cell individual. And when I've realized that, and when I put everything together and I use it on myself, because I will never research, I will never study, I will never try to get a certificate, to validate that what I know is valid unless it works. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And so I will not even for example, when I find a product that is fantastic, I tell all my friends. I'm not an influencer. I just tell people, oh my God, have you tried this cream? It's fantastic. And so the same principle I applied, with the things that I learn and the things that I teach. I don't teach the things that didn't work for me.
So now coming to the world of energy healing, because I see on your website that you're also a energy healer. Can you delve more deeper insight into this side of the world? Because energy and healing, all these words sound a little metaphysical by nature, and a lot of people again don't delve into these subjects when it comes to healing, because conventional medicine is absolutely on the other side of energy and healing. Can you throw some light on this?
Very much so. And I need to go a bit further. I believe that when a person is suffering, for as long as there is suffering within a person reality, there is healing that needs to take place. So whether people like the word healing or not, I can't find a better word to define what the process that needs to happen to feel better. Okay. And healing is not just not having physical pain or mental pain. There is another sort of pain that we suffer from. And that pain, I realize it's spiritual. And so the religious me had to understand and differentiate what is religious and what is spiritual. And I realized that they're not the same thing. What religion taught me and the meaning that I gave or the understanding I gave to being spiritual are completely different. So being spiritual to me is being in touch with that energy part of you that is contained in this physical body to have an experience. And until you experience it, you won't even be able to understand it, or you can dismiss it immediately. And I was the first person that was very scared when I started meditating, because as I started meditating, I realized that there were understanding coming in me that I didn't know where they were coming from. So it wasn't something that I studied. It wasn't something that I read. It came into me as an, and this knowing made me seek not more knowing, but that bliss, that beautiful sensation that you feel when you are in the presence of all that is, of all of yourself, or you call it God, call it whichever way you want. There is a bliss, an abandonment with trust, a joyful being that you are in a space in which you can be spiritual. And that moment of spirituality came to me the moment that pranic energy healing entered my door. So I thought that I was going to learn another modality that I could add on to my own journey. Okay. Not as a practitioner, but for myself. Remember, it's always for myself first, because if it doesn't work for me, I cannot give it to anyone. And so I was trying to understand how energy can heal anything or anybody. And so I had to become a receiver of the teachings. I had to teach them myself, and I had to understand how the energy body within us function. And when I talk to you about chakra and aura, you can't tell me you've never heard that. You can't tell me that you don't know about them or that you deny the existence. They've been written for centuries and millenniums. It's the first healing that people heard about is through the chakra system. And the chakra system and the aura, that's exactly our energy system. So it exists. We are part of it. It's been seen. There is the Kirlian photography from the beginning of the 19th century, the past centuries, that actually has proven that we have an energy body, and that this energy body can be given certain form of energizing and other, technique that we are not delving at all today unless you're really interested, that actually show a change within the energy body. And it's not done by medicine, not by touch, not by anything, not by change of thoughts, not by change of anything, but changing the status of your energy. So this came to me, and I saw how effective it is that working on the energy body can make your body feel better. And when your body feels better and safer, then it regulates the nervous system, and then you can start looking at all your problems and limiting belief and handle your daily life with balance and coherence. And the energy body, the energy system, the knowledge about healing then took me into a spiritual journey, a spiritual path. And so my 15 minutes meditation became longer, more structured. And with more meditation comes also more awareness, more compassion for other people, more compassion for suffering, more compassion for seeing people that are still living out of their limiting beliefs and their trauma, people who haven't yet been able to make that shift of understanding that, I can get out of this. I can. It's just I need to have somebody who can show me the way or get a book or something. That desire to change is what healing is all about. And the modalities are out there. I'm not saying that I have the best one, but I have one that works for me and for the people who have come to me. And as I repeat, as they heal, their family heals, their community heals, their society heals, and we can heal nation if we can show up not for our wounds, but with all the healed parts that are within our reach and bring them to society so we can change that consciousness of suffering that we are currently all under.
The word pranic means prana, which is also part of breath. And I am on a mission to educate people about how breath and breath work helps you to improve your physiology, improves your stress resilience. Can you throw some light on that part, on why breathing is an important function in your entire healing process?
It's because if you see even the scriptures and they talk about the breath of life, okay? Through breathing, we are receiving prana. You just described is a Sanskrit word you should know better than I do. That means life. This life force, all permeating, it has nothing to do with oxygen, but oxygen contains prana. And it's all pervasive, it's everywhere. And the funniest thing is that when we are finally taught how to see it, because it's actually visible with the naked eye. So it's not a concept that we talk about that people have to study, metaphysic or esoteric knowledge to see. It's actually visible. And we actually teach this in one of our basic courses because you need to see it to believe. I trust that. Okay, let's see it so we can believe. If you can breathe in that fresh prana, which is like little globules of energy, okay, into your body. And as we say it all the time that we are hyperventilating, breathing wrongly, all the time we are under stress, under pressure, our breath changes. You realize that. The moment we are able to regulate the way we breathe, we can actually able to receive more fresh life energy from the prana that is in our environment and feel immediately better. And actually, would like, if you allow me to show a little exercise for all the people
Okay,
who are suffering from anxiety and panic attack that has to do with
sure,
breath.
that would be great.
So at the beginning, and this one I'm speaking to just those people, I'm sorry for the others who suffer from panic attack. You know when it's coming. One moment you are listening to a song at the radio and you are singing, and the next moment there is that sensation of doom that you need to call somebody because you're either going to pass out, you're going to die in that moment. So you need to find help. You need somebody, you need to stop the car, you need to stop whatever you're doing and looking for somebody to come and assist you because you're dying. That's what you know. That's all you know. That's all you believe. Before you get to that point, I want you to just take a normal breath. When your chest is full and it feels like you cannot breathe anymore, take another breath instantly. So again, take it in and then release it slowly. If you do this to me, once it used to work, it stops the panic attack instantly. And this is just by using your breath. Even if you're stressed, try it and see if it's going to calm you down. So I came to learn about this a bit later in my famous 3 years of being totally doomed. But the moment I've realized it, healing is like this. It's never a one straight line. So sometimes it happens again, and I do exactly that, and then it stops immediately. It's like it regulates your vagus nerve, it regulates your entire nervous system, and the panic attack stops. And
Mhm.
I hope it works for you guys as it has worked for me. But I use it to date in the events, and now maybe it's once a year. I've been also 2 years without, and then when I'm a bit under stress, my body dysregulates again. So it can happen that I start getting more anxious than usual. And then I use this technique immediately. I feel the anxiety, peaking. So I'm sorry it's
Awesome.
not for the others.
No, but thank you so much for sharing this. Definitely, people who are watching this, especially people who are having some sort of anxiety or panic attacks. I have something interesting before we wrap up. I thought I'll do a rapid fire with you, and this is something that I'm introducing new.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you a question, and you just need to have like one word answer, first thing that comes to your mind, and let's see how it goes. Are you ready?
Okay, I
All
was
right. Okay,
shoot.
let's start. One word that describes healing.
Alive, like feeling alive.
Okay. Morning ritual you never skip.
Apart from brushing my teeth, is doing my somatic exercise.
Book that changed your life.
My own.
Okay.
No,
What's that?
I'm joking. No, okay, no. I'll tell you later about that. But a book that changed my life, it's literally all the book by Mahatma Shokoksoy.
Okay.
Just having accumulated enough dharma in my life to be able to receive his name into my library and his book, and then being able to follow all his courses and his teaching and all the teaching and spiritual teaching. This to me is the biggest blessing of.
One common complaint that you always receive, or one common belief that you common hear from your clients.
Why did I come to know about this before?
Okay.
Other people say, why is this not taught in schools?
Meditation or movement?
Sorry, meditation or?
Movement.
It depends. Meditation, I can't skip it. It is
Okay.
become part of who I am. But movement every day as well. So my routine is very simple. Walk for an hour and then meditation. So I
Okay.
walk every day.
What's something people are surprised to learn about you?
Learning about me, it's funny. So the people who know me on my before the panic attacks was how did she become a healer? And the people who knew me after the panic attack, like, has she ever been a businesswoman? Yeah.
Awesome. And any last thing that you wish to share with the listeners over here?
With the listener, I want to share one thing. I want to share I want to insist on what I said before, and it's about suffering. If there is suffering in your life, there is something that is out of alignment. We are not here to suffer. If you think about the beauty around us, the beauty that Mother Earth gives us, the sunshine, even the rain, it's beautiful. Even the thunderstorm that we experience in Johannesburg are extremely pyrotechnics, are extremely beautiful. There is beauty all over. So if there is so much beauty around us, and you've been given everything that we need, why are we suffering? Could it be that suffering it's us allowing continuously through repetition, allowing it into our lives? And if that's so, are you ready to change anything about what you do? But anyway, because I've given that beautiful exercise for people with panic attack, I want to let all the other viewers know that if they're interested in understanding more about neuroplasticity, but most importantly, the opportunity for them to change their life, I have created a book which is called The Karma Cure. And if you read it, you'll understand why the word karma is intentionally being put in the title. It is not a religious book. It's not a Vedic book. It's not a Buddhist book. It's actually a book about neuroplasticity and how to apply it in your daily life. You will find after every chapter, there is a lot of information and how you can apply it in your life. So you don't need really to find immediately a therapist if you're not ready to invest, but you can just dip your toes into understanding and see if it is for you. And if it is for you, try it out and let us know.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Valentina, this has been such a insightful conversation with you. You've shared so much of wisdom about your personal journey, about all those things which are something always kept hidden, but you're pretty open and you shared everything honestly and transparently with the viewers over here. And to everyone watching this, if this conversation resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, Kartik.